think we might be live. A bit early. I did say 9. What's it o'clock? Let me just check on my iPad. Ah, yeah, we are live. I've got it set a bit different tonight. I'm on this bloody Streamlabs thing.
Yeah, we are live.
Oh, come out of that.
I've got it set a bit different tonight. I'm on this bloody Streamlabs thing.
So, yes, I am live. Thank you, The Hobbit. Good evening. Yeah, I can't say I've not got analytics on this thing. Oh, up here it says I've got 4 viewers. So that's the second James in the room. Just let things get warmed up a little bit. Wait for a few more people to join in. Am I coming through loud and clear?
Yes.
Thank you. Might be a bit bright actually. Oh, the dogs are watching the live stream in the other room. Yes, loud and clear. Thank you very much. Well, this could get confusing. Yeah, so welcome back to another live stream. I don't know when I did the last one. When did I do the last one? Well, yeah, it was quite a while ago actually. Not much has happened really. Well, it has, and it hasn't. I am having a shit week this week. That's for. I put my teeth back in. That is for certain. I'm having a proper shit week. Everything I touch is just going crap. I was trying to do something today outside. I was fixing a chainsaw. That went wrong. I videoed it. I said, I'll tell you now, don't forget to put the chain on going in the right direction. You'll be surprised at how many people put it on backwards. So I put it on right first time round, and I couldn't get the chain adjuster working properly. So I took it off, put it back on. Second time was the right way around. Third time was the charm. I put it on backwards, got it all tightened up, and I'm looking at it thinking, oh, what is going on? I've put it on backwards. But that wasn't the first thing to happen this week. Previously, I was doing wheelchair repairs. A couple of spokes had gone on my left-hand wheel. One had been gone for a long time, and I kept putting it off because it's not a crap job, but I just wasn't looking forward to doing it. And then another one went, and I was coming out of the garage, and there's a bit of a dip coming out of the garage, and I heard something go click. I thought, oh, so I had a bit of a feel. Sure enough, that was another spoke had broken. I have got some spares, so I took it all apart, changed the spokes, no problem at all. Putting the tyre back on. The Hobbit took the tyre out to the compressor to pump it up. Won't hold air, so I've bloody pinched the tube, putting it back on. So anyway, took it all off, tried repairing the puncture. Nothing. It's just crap. So wait for new tubes. They should be here tomorrow. Yeah, it's all the Jameses today. My middle name's James, if that's any help. So yeah, I'm in the spare wheelchair at the minute, which is not as good. It's nah. Anyway, hopefully the tubes will be here tomorrow, and I'll get it back together without pinching the tubes on the tyre, you know, putting it back on. Prior to that, little cock up, I was on the Panda fitting the new timing belt cover. The new one's slightly different to the one that's on the car. It's got like a flap that's on a hinge, and the bolt comes in from the side. Now on the old one, the bolts are in the sides of it like that. whereas this one is a bolt in from that side. So I took it off, thought, oh, this is bloody wrong. So anyway, I started hacking it about with the angle grinder. I thought, well, I'll drill a hole, put a grommet in it, and that'll be fine. Couldn't get it to work. Anyway, I'm ferreting around on the engine, and there's like a plate that is bolted onto the side of the engine. Now that plate you unbolt off, and the hinged flap on the new timing belt cover goes in place of that bracket. So I've cut that up. That's fit for the bin. Prior to that, I was fitting new headlights in the Panda, and I couldn't. The reflector had all come off inside. I'd wound it up too much, and it popped off the little ball inside. So, oh god! Anyway, I couldn't get it back on, so I cut one of the tabs on the adjuster. Managed to wind it all in, popped it back on, and wound it all back out again. And I thought, why did I bloody cut that off? No need, because it's a bolt. There's a plastic thing and a bolt. Well, I cut the tab on the plastic bit. The plastic bit is sort of like a bit of an adjustment. Like if you was towing, which is very unlikely with a Panda because they can't tow much, you could adjust your headlights just under the bonnet and just turn these plastic things. It'll only go sort of like half a turn, but that's enough just to bring your headlights up or down. If you wanted to adjust them properly, where the round thing is, there's a bolt runs up through the middle, so you'd hold that and screw your bolt in or out, and that would adjust it. But anyway, I'll cut the tab off of that, so that's but it still works. That's where it sort of started, my bad week, and it didn't finish with the chainsaw. I got back onto the Panda today because the wheel bearings had turned up, so I'm getting all the hub built back up. And I couldn't quite remember how it went, because you've got the hub, you've got the wheel bearing and the hub, then you've got the back plate for the disc, then you've got like another bracket, and then the actual sort of the suspension bit with the ball joint on it. Anyway, I got it all put back together. I went to get the carrier that holds the brake pads. It wouldn't bloody go on. I'd only bloody put it on wrong, so I had to take it all off again. Did all that, put it back together, put all the new pads in it. Bloody caliper won't go on now, will they? So I've had to grind down the new brake pads. Are so thick that when they're sitting on the disc, the caliper won't go over them. So I've had to grind a bit off. It's not obviously perfectly flat. So when we get it all back together, the Hobbit's going to have to be driving around the field using the brakes. Oh, so I don't really touch anything now, because everything I touch turns to shit at the moment. I don't know what it is, whether it's the weather or what. I do not know. But we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. It's just silly things that are going wrong. And when afterwards you think, oh, why? Why did I do that? What a plonker. It is one of those weeks. But it won't bloody stop raining. That's nothing to do with it, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's my shit week taken care of. I've got a list here of things to talk about. We've got the TD6, the Panda. What's coming up in the... I've got a lot of videos done on the Panda that they're uploaded onto YouTube, ready for release. But I will try and get some Range Rover content, because it's only the Range Rover videos that get any love on this channel, which is a bit annoying, because the Panda does get some views, but it's not as like instant as the Range Rover stuff. But we've still got the TD6. That's another story which I'll get to in a bit. I did mention a couple of videos and that we've still got it. Yeah. So I've got jobs to do on the TD6. That'll be videos. I've got once the Hobbit's using the Panda, I can service the TDV8, get it all cleaned up, all spick and span. So yeah, the Panda is in the garage. It is getting a lot of love, and I keep starting jobs, and it's like I need more parts. I took all the suspension off. I've changed all the suspension on the front, so new shocks and springs on the front. I stripped it all off. The old wheel bearing was a little bit, and I thought, so we bought 4 new wheel bearings. I thought, just go through the car, do the whole thing, so it's like brand new when she gets it back. So yeah, they turned up the other day, and I've ordered another track end, steering rack end. On the steering rack on the Panda, you can unscrew the ends. You've got your track rod ends, which you can adjust for your tracking, but then the piece that bolts onto actually comes out of the steering rack. On the passenger side, it's really clonking. So all the clonking that we heard when we was driving around the field, I thought it was the suspension, but I think it was the steering rack. So I'd already ordered one, but on the other side, I can't get the track rod end off at all. I've heated it up, WD-40'd it, and it won't come off. I've got a new set of steering rack gaiters, so I just ordered a new track end for the driver's side. So I've got that job to do, which that looks a bit awkward because the steering rack is tucked right down the back of the engine, and at the minute it's up on axle stand, so it's a little bit difficult for me to get to it. I'll get it done. Yeah, it's not a problem, but at the moment it's a bit awkward. But I want to get all the front of the car done, take it out, turn it round and nose it in before I do the back, because it's quite dark at the other end of the garage, and we have got lights. But so yeah, the Panda is getting some love. The engine's all done pretty much. It's cam belt, water pump. It's got electronic ignition on it now, which it didn't have. I'd put new points and condenser in it, and I could not get it running right. Oh, we got a cup of tea coming. Thanks.
You're welcome.
The Hobbit.
Yeah, I need to change my YouTube name now.
Yeah, to The Hobbit.
To The Hobbit, yeah.
What else we done on the engine? Electronic ignition. I've stripped the carburetor down, cleaned all that. It's got a new choke cable on it. That's all good. Timing belt's done. Water pump's done. There's something else, but I can't think what it was. It's got a new air filter in it. The air filter is the box is rubbish, and I've noticed that on a lot of Pandas when I've been looking at them, where the clips are, the clips have long gone and they've all held on with cable ties. But on our airbox, it's got the cold air thing in it. So when it's cold, the flap opens or closes and it draws air from the exhaust manifold. That's all missing, so it's just an empty box. I will try and look out for one of those at some point, but it's not important. We'll get all the rest of it done. The headlights look amazing in it. New headlights, got them all in, all nicely lined up, and the lines are quite nice. I adjusted the bonnet a little bit as well. Now I thought the paintwork was really bad on it, but I'll give it a little wazzo on with a buffing wheel the other day, and that's actually coming up quite nice. I think where it's been sat outside, I think that's the paint has just got like sun and all sorts of crap on it, and it's come off and it's polished up really nice on the panels that I've done. So yeah, it's going to be quite a nice little car. Obviously the interior wants sorting out. That's right, I've changed the door locks, the press button things on the doors. I've put a new steering ignition lock on it. So we are getting there with it. Obviously the videos on YouTube are sort of a fair bit behind. But yeah. So the TD6, I'm going to have a look at the TD6 tomorrow actually. The bloke who was interested in buying it, he was really pissing me about. I should have known really, but last year he said he wanted it, and the back arches on the TD6, they're not great. They're not really crap, but they're quite puddeny, and there is a little bit of rust coming up on the top of the wheel arch. That sort of thing I'll have to sort out. Over here, I don't think that won't fail on corrosion. You know, for the CT. They're not big on corrosion on the body unless it's like really close to a seatbelt mounting. But you know, in the UK that would probably fail. But he failed it on the subframes. But yeah, this bloke who was having it, he was messing me about for quite a long time, and I kept saying, "Are you interested? Do you still really want it?" You know, because anyway, he strung me along for so long, and then it's sort of like a week before my insurance was due for renewal, and he said, "Oh no, I'm gonna." He said, "Oh, take it for a CT so we know what's wrong with it first." I thought, well, fair enough, I'll do that. It failed. He come and had another look at it, and then went away. And then I never heard from him again, so I had to keep chasing him. And in the end, he turned around and said, "Oh no, I don't want it now." Oh fucking hell. Anyway, so we're going to keep the TD6. When he was looking at it, he said that the pipe looks like it's just popped off of the intercooler. So I'm hoping that I can get stood up and have a look down and possibly be able to put it back on. I have got some big Jubilee clips. I think the clips that hold the intercooler pipe on, you like those crimp clips. So I might have to take that off and put a big Jubilee clip on, crank it up tight, and we'll have boost again. You know, nice bit of oomph. We'll only be using it around the field, towing the trailer and stuff. But yeah, it's on charge at the minute. We went to start it up the other day. Absolutely flat as a pancake. It had been parked up for probably about 3 weeks. Range Rovers don't do well when they're parked up for a long period of time. You know, if all you Range Rover owners out there probably experience it at some point. Anyway, we managed to get it started, and it's on charge. But I've got a solar panel up there, and I've done a little video on it because I tested it all out. Every time I check the voltage on it and an open circuit, it's 22, 23, 24 volts. And I'm like, oh, I don't think that's very good for a car. But of course, I wasn't thinking it's not got a load on it. I didn't really know how these solar panels worked. Anyway, so I'm gonna see about this boost pipe tomorrow. Get that put back on. Get the Hobbit to turn the car around the other way, and I'm going to wire up the solar panel to the electrics in the boot, because you've got a positive post and a ground in the back. I'm going to wire up in there. You always want to disconnect the solar panel before you start it, because it'll cock the job up. But I'm just hoping that in the front window of the car. The only reason I'm wiring it up in the back is because I don't want the wires trailing out through and under the bonnet. If they're in the back, I can just disconnect it at the solar panel, start the car up, away you go. Hopefully, that's the plan. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a few jobs on the TD6. I've got a few things that it failed on. One was the headlights. They flash on their own. You know, it switched off. Main beam flashes. I think that's the what they call it. It's the headlight module, basically. I think we might have fried it when we put the battery on charge before. I had a big old charger that I thought it was 12 volts, and it just had, because the one I had before was just 12 volts, and it was low and high, you know, for your amps. We got this new one sat out there, and we got it plugged on, and I think we'd left it sat there charging up. And I said to the Hobbit, I says, when you go out there, can you just flick the charger onto the other setting to get put a bit more oomph into the battery? Anyway, she did that. Next day, he goes out there to have a look about starting it. The battery charger wasn't working. Oh, what's going on here? Anyway, a bit of fettling around and having a look, I noticed that the switch wasn't high and low. It was 12 volts, 24 volts. So I asked the Hobbit to switch it up, and she switched it on to 24 volts. Since then, that is when we've had the trouble with the headlights flashing on and off. So I'm thinking that the bit of extra voltage might have gone and fried the headlight module or done something. I have disconnected the battery and let it reset everything, reconnected the battery, but it's made no difference. So, well, it did. It did make a difference for a start, for about 10 minutes, and then they started flashing again. But I can get a headlight module for about 40 quid off eBay, so I'll be doing that at some point. A couple of other little jobs that it failed its MOT on. On the early Range Rovers, they had like a door moulding. I don't know if it was, I think they were optional, I'm not sure. The newer ones don't have it. But on the passenger door, it's peeling off at the front. Now he's put that down as dangerous for passers-by. God's sake. They'd peeled off on the other side, but they peeled off at the back. So I suppose if it brushes past someone, it won't catch them. But because this one was peeling off at the front, it might catch someone's trouser leg and drag them up the road. The IID tool, I did have it plugged in on that actually when we first did it, but I can't remember what it said. But I will plug it back in and before I order a headlight module and see what it says, because I'll try the IID tool and I'll try the iCarsoft as well. And that is when I cocked up the iCarsoft, because I plugged that in and it wouldn't read all the modules. And when I looked at it, it was on old firmware. And that's when I updated the firmware, and it wouldn't work after that. I plug it into either car, nothing happened. So, what have I done? Anyway, I sorted all that out. What I failed to do was take off the old firmware before I put the new firmware on. So I did all that, and it works fine now. Absolutely pucker-ding. But yeah, I'll plug the IID tool in and see what it does say. It did say something about the headlight module, if I remember correctly. But then we parked it up for over a year. So it's been quite a while ago. Yeah, I'll do a video on that when the time comes. It will be probably next week or so. And then what else? There was something on the brakes on the driver's side. There's the brakes work perfectly. I don't know if I've got the paperwork in here actually. Here we go. I think. Yeah. I'll show you this, the brakes. In all my years of MOTing, I've never seen results like this. So on this side here, will it focus? We've got front brakes and rear brakes. So front brakes, left, this is all done on weights on the brake meter. Left is 455. Right is 455 with an imbalance of 1%. There's not many cars that get 1% imbalance on front brakes. the rear left was 353 and the rear right was 388, and that's a 10% imbalance on the brakes. So yeah, don't worry about the smoke. That's an incense stick. But thanks for pointing it out. I could be sat here and the house is going up in flames. So yeah, I don't know. I've got to have a look. Take the wheel off and see what, because it says system freinage complete, a default of all elements of nature, compromise, and the security or element badly mounted. So I've got that to have a look at. Get it up in the air. Take that wheel off. The commutation fares. That's the headlights. And then it's this bloody suspension. Oh, bloody suspension. Now, the chap who was interested in it, he's been under the car and he says they are quite bad, actually. It's a UK car. It's bloody gonna rust, isn't it? The bloody shit they put on the roads. French cars. We've got 3 French cars. We've got the Range Rover TDV8. We've got the Audi A4. And we've got the Panda. Not a bit of rust on the TDV8. Not a bit of rust on the Audi A4. There's a little bit on the Panda, but nothing structural. You can't poke through it, and it's surface rust. So the stuff they put on the roads over here just doesn't eat cars, whereas the TD6 is a UK car, spent most of its life in the UK, and so it's suffering a little bit with the old tin worm. Now the big failures is the front subframe. I think that's what it is. Element endommage or présentant on corrosion excessive. Front left, front right, rear left, rear right. Now, when he was underneath, it said your subframes are pretty bad. On the front, I've got all new control arms, lower arms, and all the bits and pieces to put onto it, but the subframes are gone apparently. So what I've got to do is source some subframes front and back, which they are about, but I didn't really want to get one from the UK. A couple of reasons. One, because of the rust. I do think that the subframes, from what I can work out, I don't know if it's true or not, but they list the subframes from 2002 right through till 2012. But I'm sure if the engine bolts onto the subframe, it's not going to be the same, is it? Because the TD6, the TDV8 came out in 2006, I think. But anyway, I've got to source some subframes from somewhere. That's the plan anyway. The plan is, as you might have seen from videos, we're going to hold a Ben's Garage event. If we're allowed to travel, or if you're allowed to travel next year. I won't be travelling anywhere, will I? You'll all be coming here. This is the plan anyway. And there was quite a bit of interest in it. Oh, can't get comfortable in this wheelchair. There was quite a bit of interest in coming over here for a Ben's Garage event and doing a spot of work on the old TD6. I mean, I would do it, and I'd have to do it if we couldn't get the help over here. But it's not a difficult job. It's just time consuming. Now, from what I've found, I've done a bit of research, and the bloke who was going to buy it, he did some research, and he said it's best to strip the subframe down while it's on the car, then unbolt subframe, drop it down, a bare subframe, because they can get heavy. So that might be the plan. Unbolt everything off the subframe, suspend the engine somehow, drop the subframe out, put the new one in and build it all back up. And the same on the rear. Hopefully. If all goes to plan. Oh dear. There's always a headache, isn't there? Always. It's too good to scrap. I can't really... Legally, I'm not allowed to sell it for parts because... I can't break it for parts because I haven't got a license. You need a license to break it. And of course, you advertise it online, so they're going to catch you, aren't they? I can sell it for parts because we've had the CT done. To sell a car in France, it's got to have a certain amount of MOT on it. So if you're buying a car, it's got the MOT on it can't be any older than 6 months. Once it goes over that, you've got to put a new one on it. But you can actually sell a car with, as long as you've had a CT done, even if it's failed, that failure lasts for 2 months. You've got 2 months to fix it. So you can actually buy a car that's failed its MOT. You can register the car using that failure certificate, and then you can get it repaired. But selling it in that state with those failures, I'm not going to get anything for it. So it's what do you do? It's like, well, and another thing in France, you can't keep a car that's not insured, even if it's not used on the road. So it's off the road, it's on our property. I can't cancel that insurance until I either sell the car or scrap the car. Now, the renewal came through, it was nearly €600. Oh, I ain't paying that. So I tried being a bit naughty, because the bloke was going to have it. And last time I did it, now I'm not criminal, but certain things they really take the piss. Anyway, I sold the Audi to the Hobbit. We got the 2 houses, so I did a little bit of forgery and said that the Hobbit had bought it because her surname's different to mine because we're not married yet. So I sent that to the insurance company, and that was all well and good. They cancelled the insurance. Now they've cottoned on to that little bloody trick, haven't they? Now I have to send them the code. If I sell the car, I have to enter it onto the website to say that I've sold it. I get given a code confidential, which I send to the buyer, so that when they want to log their registration for buying the car, they can put in this confidential code, and then it takes them straight to the car. So now you can't cancel your insurance until you've sent proof that you've actually logged your sale through the government website. They are crafty. Anyway, my previous insurance company didn't want to know. I said, it's off the road. I said, I can't use it. It's failed its control technique. €600 a year is too much for a car that we can't use on the road. And because before, when I ended up in hospital, we had a 3.5 ton Renault Mascot, 3 litre tipper truck. Of course, we wasn't using it. And the Hobbit went up to the insurance office in the town, because we lived just on the edge of a town at the last house, and she managed to get them to reduce it to off-road cover. But my insurance company for the TD6 was not having any of that. So I said, well, I'm just going to have to go elsewhere. So anyway, I've got it down to €300. So €300 for a car that we can only drive around the field. But yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? The joys. They've got you by the short and curlies. Nothing you can do about it. So that's that. Got that insured. The Audi's up for sale. I've just had a chap on here actually on my iPad a minute ago, and he's quite interested. He's at work at the moment, so he's going to get in touch with me again tomorrow. He was quite keen. Yeah, of course, they all ask, what's the CT on it? That's what I said to the Hobbit. I don't want to put a CT on it until someone's interested in it. If they want to buy it, I'll take it up to the Control Technique place and get one put on it. I'm pretty confident it'll pass. It's got brand new tyres all round. Brakes all work fine. It revs up lovely now. It's got a decent intercooler on it. I didn't want to put a Control Technique on it and it'd be sat out here for 3 months not selling, because then we'd have to do it again. And it's 70 odd euros a time. You don't want to be throwing the money away like that. So I said, no, it's, what's the Control Technique? What were the faults? Blah, blah, blah. I says, I'll put a Control Technique on it when somebody wants to buy it. And I said to him, I says, if there's any faults, we'll either negotiate on the price or I'll fix it. Simple as that. But I'm pretty confident that'll pass. So hopefully the Audi will go, because I'm fed up with keep charging the batteries up on these cars because we're not using them. But yeah, the solar panel might work in the TD6. I mean, we're going to hook the trailer up to that, and we'll use that for the trailer in the field. So yeah, the Ben's Garage event. I don't know if any of you lot on here tonight are interested in the Ben's Garage event. It's a long old drive, but yeah. I had a lot of people comment saying, "Oh, I'm not very good with spanners or this, that, and the other," but I'm willing to learn. We'll have some of that. I did say in the video that I did, I said we'd have you camping here and I'd hire a Portaloo. Things have changed just a little bit. The Hobbit's got a job. Ooh. She started working up at the campsite, actually, just up the road. It's only 4 kilometres away. She does all the gardening up there. And I said to her, I says, can you give me a price list for the campsite? Because I don't know how much hiring Portaloos is going to cost. Because when you go to get a quote, they want to know how many people it's for and this, that, and the other, how long you want it for. And I thought, well, I don't bloody know. I've only got some people like saying, yeah, I want to come, blah, blah, blah. So I can't get a price for a toilet until I know definite numbers and definite dates, and it's a headache. So I thought, we'd only have a Portaloo on site. There'd be no electric hookups. There'd be no shower facilities because you're not using our bathroom. Our foss is only enough for us 2 people. We don't want all you lot abusing our toilet and blocking the drains. So I had a bit of a cunning plan. I said to the Hobbit, I said, get us a price for up at the campsite, and I might get a bit of a discount if there was enough of you to come. And what I said was that I would pay for your camping up at the campsite, which would give you a pitch, shower facilities, toilet facilities, and we would basically pay for you to stay up there rather than staying here. We'd only pay for like the basic camp plot, which would give you access to the toilets and the showers. If you want electric, you can pay for that yourselves. I'm too tight for that. But I thought that would probably work out as much as it would cost us to get a bog brought in. That's my plan anyway. But I don't know how many people are going to be interested, so I might have to do another video and just explain all these ideas. That's if we can travel next year. Things are looking bleak, aren't they? Our fearless leader, President bloody Macron, the other day. I better not go into it too much, had I? Why?
It's your channel that can get...
No, I won't. I had a thing from YouTube the other day, an email, and it says that it was all in French, because obviously I'm living in France, so my YouTube channel is set to France, but in English. And because obviously the elections are coming up, and it says I'm not allowed to do any videos basically slagging off any politicians or anything like that, or any videos going on about the election, or they'll get taken off. But I won't mention his name anymore. But anyway, the other night he says that it's going to be obligatory for the old vaccination. Yeah, yeah, it's obligatory for people in healthcare service, you know, nurses, all that kind of thing. Pompier, which are the fire brigade. Why do I have to think of that? Yeah, so that it's obligatory for them to have it. The police are exempt, which don't quite know what that's all about. Obviously, they need the police in fine fettle so that they can manage us all. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but something is bloody going on. I'm not having the vaccination, and I'll tell you for why. I don't bloody go anywhere at all. Don't go out. Oh, I've got to go out next week actually, because we've got to go and get our carte de séjour, which we have to get now because of Brexit. That basically gives us our rights to live in France. So that's a lot of pissing about. I've had to go up and get some photos taken. I've got to get all the documents and go into Limoges and get my fingerprints taken. So they've got me on record now, haven't they? Hopefully they don't cross-reference any criminal records. No, there's not. I ain't got to worry about that. Anyway, yeah, so I don't go out. The Hobbit goes out. She goes to work on the campsite. She's gardening. She doesn't really deal with people. If she does, she's always masked up. She's always masked up when she goes shopping. We was masked up the other day getting out. I took the mask off to have my photos taken, obviously, because it's not a good look on your identity card, is it? With a mask across your face. But I don't go out anywhere. And what? Oh, Mr. Dibbles is on. Well, when are you going to Limoges then, Mr. Dibbles? Because we ain't hanging about. I'm going in and we're coming out. But, yeah, so I've got that next Monday. When I am. It was too early in the morning for you. You'll still be sleeping it off. Anyway, yeah, so, and, you know, people have got their reasons for not having this vaccine. I've got a few. But I shan't go into it too much because people just think I'm a bloody tin foil hat wearing nutcase. Pardon me. But they're bringing out this, what they call it? Pass sanitaire, which is obligatory for, you know, if you want to go into a bar, or they're talking about if you go into hospitals. Obviously not in an emergency. If you get rushed in there, they're not going to worry if you've had a COVID vaccine or not. And it's not just the vaccine, it's if you've had a negative test, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've had the vaccine, proof that you've been infected in the last 6 months, so you're immune, or a negative test.
Yeah, you've got to have proof of the vaccine, proof that you've had the virus within the last 6 months, or proof of a negative test. So that goes for hospitals. Was it pharmacies as well?
Not sure about the farmers yet.
We're not sure. It's getting to be a joke. The flu has been about for years and years, and it kills a lot of people every year. People go for their flu jabs. They've never ever had to have a flu jab passport. So, yeah, something is going on. They call it the Great Reset. I'm not quite into all these conspiracies like a lot of people, but something just isn't quite right. I think all these numbers are a little bit skewed. And yeah, so we'll change the subject now. Hopefully next year you can all travel to sunny France.
If it's sunny,
Well, next year hopefully it will be sunny, because this year has been absolute shit. It really has. Done nothing but rain. I'm thinking about building a boat actually. Building a boat out in the field, and much more of this rain and it'll float. Simple as that. It's quite nice out there at the minute, but it has been raining on and off all day for the last couple of bloody weeks. We do have a couple of nice days here and there, and it's just rain. More bloody rain. I hope you're doing plenty of work, Mr. Dibbles. And it's not a jolly, mate. It's not a jolly. You're here to work. Work from home. So none of this gallivanting round for coffee. Get to bloody work. So yeah, that will be the Ben's Garage event. It won't be in the middle of summer, because normally in the middle of summer it gets bloody hot. 30 plus, 40 degrees. Too hot to be pissing about on a car. So, and also the campsite's cheaper out of season. So it'll save me a bit of money. Let me just have a look at this. So that would be €13 a night. July and August will be €13 a night. May, June and September will be €9 a night per pitch. If you want electric, that's €4 a night. But I ain't paying the electric. You'll have to rough it. It's camping at the end of the day. So yeah, I will do another video on that. Just throw out some ideas. I've set up the Ben's Garage event group on Facebook. There's 16 members over there who've, all people saying that they're really keen, interested. It is a long drive down here. I'll tell you how far it is. I did say on the video that I did. But let me just put in Calais. Come on, hurry up. Directions from Calais. Oh, no, come on. If you're coming from Calais, easiest crossing, isn't it? 712 kilometres if you go straight down through Paris, which I wouldn't advise you do that. Go down via Rouen. That's 8 hours 17 minutes. Let me just put that route on. 726 kilometres. So 8-hour drive from Calais. But you don't have to do it all in one go, do you? So it is a long drive, but if there's a few of you come in convoy, get the old radios on the go, Getting some CB chatter. You get one of these. I've set these to PMR 446, which apparently you're not allowed to do. It's illegal. But don't do everything you're told, do you? But with these little ham radios, there's a repeater that goes over on the space station. I can tune into it with this. I could probably speak to them because line of sight is, there's pretty much no range, unlimited, not unlimited, but I probably could communicate via the repeater. Now, the space station actually does broadcast on VHF or UHF radio because they communicate with schools for like projects and stuff like that. But the repeater is basically like somebody can radio up to it and then it comes back down in a different part of the world. So I've heard people from Japan, Mexico, Italy. They talk a lot of crap on there. It's all call signs and stuff like that. And because it goes so fast, the best we've ever had it was 7 minutes visible, where it comes up and you can see it, and it takes 7 minutes to go over, and you have to change the frequency as it goes over. They call it it's like a Doppler effect on the radio. So you can pick it up on the first frequency, and then when it starts to go a little bit crackly and that, you can just skip to the next frequency. They're all programmed in here. I've done it because I can plug this into the computer and program all the frequencies in. And yeah, it's bloody brilliant. I can't communicate with them because I haven't got a ham license. I'm not likely to either. But we got these radios as a bit of an emergency communications. If the shit hits the fan, it won't take a lot for civil unrest and the governments just to flick a load of switches, so there'll be no communications, no internet, no nothing. How do you communicate with people? Radios. These haven't got a great range. It's all line of sight. I've got a longer aerial for it, but it's a bit excessive for everyday use. I mean, that's so I've got the Hobbit one as well. Now, because we haven't got a ham license, I've just set the frequencies for us on PMR 446, which is license-free radios. We had some PMR 446 radios, which I sold after getting these. I sold those radios for more than what I bought two of these for. Which is quite good. But in an emergency, they take a bit of working out. You can't just dial in someone and speak to them. You've got to know what frequency people are on. But you can scan. So you can set it to scan and you can pick up frequencies if people are using it. So we just use it. If I'm up in the garage and the Hobbit's indoors, or I'm out on the tractor, I've got a radio, she's got a radio, we can communicate. If I need help up in the garage or something, I'll just buzz her up, give her a bit of radio chatter, a lot of the old nonsense. Breaker, 19, come back, good buddy, and all that. Yeah, and she just says, what do you want? So I don't get it, she doesn't reply correctly. I was actually using not proper call signs because we haven't got call signs. I just made some up. Hers is Tango 76. Mine's Bravo 77. I'll let you lot work that one out. But yeah, so that's our emergency communications that can be used in emergency, but we use them all the time on PMR 446, which you don't need a license for, but you're not really allowed to program it into those radios. But if you did everything that you wasn't supposed to, eh? Well, no, if you did do everything that you wasn't supposed to do, then you'd be very boring, wouldn't you? It'd be like 1984. They know what I mean. So yes, that is that. What else have I got to tell you? I've told you about my shit week, but we've got a few more people in there. Yeah. So nobody's commented to say if they're interested in the Ben's Garage event. So I won't go on about it too much unless someone says, "Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind coming to that." So I won't waffle on about that too much. If there was more people on here, there's at least 5 of you at the moment. If there was a few more of you on here and he was showing an interest, I'd go into it a bit more, but I shan't bore you to tears. So what else have we been doing? Oh yeah, we got a new gadget in for outside. I was cutting the grass, and when it gets long and I cut it, it's like hay. And the Hobbit was going out there raking it up, and then going around with the trailer and picking it up and dumping it. So I said, why don't we get one of those lawn sweeper things that you tow behind your lawnmower and it sweeps up and throws all the grass in the box. So anyway, I was looking them up, doing a bit of research, and I thought, yeah, they'd probably do the job. And I found them cheap on Amazon, or fairly cheap. There's about €240 delivered. I thought that's not bad because, you know. Anyway, we was in a position where we had enough money to buy one. I went on Amazon. They'd only put the price up to €400. I thought, well, I'm not paying that because that's stupid. They're not well made. It's just bloody rubbish put together, basically. So the Hobbit gets online. There's a website in France called Le Bon Coin, the good coin. It's basically, it's not like, well, it's getting like eBay now, but you just put adverts on there. People get in touch with you. It's still for sale. Can I buy it? Blah blah blah. I've sold a hell of a lot of stuff on Le Bon Coin over the years, and I'm still selling stuff now. Anyway, she gets on there. There's one local. And so she went and picked it up. So I cut the grass. She went and picked it up. We put it on the back of the tractor. Got it all set up. And it does a lovely job. Picks all the grass up. And what the plan is, obviously, we're putting it on the garden. Basically, it's good for the ground. It composts down, goes into the soil. But also, it's a weed suppressant. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with Amazon, but I thought I'm not paying bloody €400 for a bloody. The Hobbit keeps calling it a carpet sweeper, but it's a lawn sweeper. But yeah, it does a good job. Apart from, I cut up the top field the other day, and that was quite long, and it was struggling with that a little bit. But we got it done. We had a bit of a system going. I was going up and filling the box within about 50 feet. The box was full. I was coming back, and the Hobbit, normally I can pull the rope and tip it up, and when it's just like grass cuttings, it falls out of the box nicely, but I couldn't. I was pulling the rope, and if you pull it too much, the box goes all the way over. Of course, once I'm on the tractor, I can't get off it, you know. So I was pulling it, but it wasn't coming out. So the Hobbit was tipping it up. It was falling out, letting it back down again, and I was going off and filling it up again. So we've picked up. That's probably about an acre, isn't it?
Yeah, I should imagine so.
That up there, that half of that field is probably 1 acre of like long grass. So we've got a huge pile where she was putting the grass, layering cardboard, grass, cardboard, that's going to sink down. And then the other bits I was dumping at the end of the beds, and she was putting it on the beds around the stuff that's growing to suppress the weeds. Also, it keeps moisture in when we've get. Not that that's going to be a problem this year, all the bloody rain we've had. But yeah, on a dry spell, the extra stuff on the floor, on the ground, will keep moisture in, so you don't have to water it so much. Now we've got wired or plumbed in 6 1,000 litre water tanks up by the garage. Now, since we've plumbed them in, it's done nothing but rain. I think the Hobbit used the water in the tanks a couple of nights.
Yeah, I reckon I probably all summer have maybe used 200-300 litres.
Pretty much all the summer, all the growing season this year, she's used about 200 litres out of that 6,000. It's been wet, proper wet. But yeah. Oh, dry old throat tonight. No, it's when I start talking. I have to ask Mum what the trick is. What do you mean, what's that? Well, she manages to talk a lot without having a drink. I don't know if they're watching this. Yeah. So yeah, I've been having a bit of a... Today wasn't a good day. Yesterday wasn't a good day. Was I outside? No. Last 2 days I've been stuck indoors. We've been absolutely pissing it down, hasn't it? Last few days in the garage have not gone well. Or the house. I don't know if it's atmospherics or all this magnetic field stuff that's shifting about. It's putting my compass out. I won't get into that too much because I don't really... The Hobbit does all that. She researches all this climate change stuff. Again, we're not conspiracy theorists, but with the with the climate change and that, I mean, she does all this research and goes to like proper scientific websites and stuff, and so I won't.
Making me sound like a nerd.
Someone said aliens. Has the Hobbit got crystals?
Yes.
Oh, apparently she has. Perhaps she's got a voodoo doll.
No.
That's what it is, and it's her that's doing it. Oh dear. Yeah. So it could all be down to the Hobbit that's upsetting my. It's not really upsetting my balance because I'm sat down all the time. But you know what I mean. Something's not quite. I'm not thinking straight, or I don't really know what's going on. But it's been going on for about a week now, and oh dearie me, I need to get a grip. Oi! No need for comments like that. Yeah, so I was going on about this climate change stuff and how all these people go on and on and on about it. We can't do anything about climate change. It's solar flares. It's the magnetic poles have shifted. So how far has the North Pole shifted, did you say?
Oh, it's gone from... It's heading for Canada. I can't remember how far, but it's on its way to Canada.
So the magnetic North Pole is shifting, and Tina said it's on its way to Canada. You know, we're in between two ice ages. And a lot of this, because I don't really know how to explain it without getting too. I should give up, really. But there's bigger things at play that are altering the climate than what we could possibly do. All this climate change and climate crisis is brought on by governments and stuff like that, because they can charge you taxes and stuff like that. And well, it's possible, isn't it? When the poles flip, what happens then, Hobbit?
The magnetic poles flipping, we'll have no magnetosphere. It'll be like living in a post-apocalyptic radioactive world.
Yeah, if the poles flip, that doesn't sound very good. The Hobbit has just informed me that we'll lose our magnetosphere, and it will be like living in obviously the solar radiation can get through, and it'll be like living in a post-apocalyptic world. So we've got that to look forward to. Which is why we was talking about it earlier on, me and the Hobbit, or the Hobbit and I, that something is happening, and the governments are trying to take control or get control of us. I did tell her that she ought to have her own YouTube channel, because she could probably explain it a lot better than me. I mean, I just pick up on what she tells me, and I sort of pick up bits and pieces. I'm not really that interested in learning all about it, but I probably should be. But what was I saying? Governments are taking control. You're going to have a pass sanitaire. They're locking us down. They're doing this. They're doing that. And there's all this talk of the Great Reset. Well, that could all be a lot of old bollocks. There could be a catastrophic event coming that they're privy to through their scientists or whatever. If they was to mention to the world that yes, events are happening, blah blah blah, the population would be out of control. They'd be looting, all sorts. I mean, people will be going breaking into shops and stealing tellies. Which, end of the world's coming. What do you need a telly for? But that was just a theory that we was talking about earlier on. Yeah. But that's not really a Ben's Garage subject, is it? So I ought to get back to the cars.
I should just keep feeding you the information. I'm not doing my own channel.
Have you seen Tina's top?
Hang on, I've got to get in the camera, haven't I? Where is it?
This way.
Which one? Can you read it?
Yeah, I love it when my pills kick in. We do as well. Oh dear. I did tell her she ought to have her own YouTube channel. But I don't think she's up for that.
No.
Yeah, it might do. It might go straight through the bonnet. But so it's the asteroid they've not told us about might hit your motor. Yeah, flatten the TDV8. I don't mind if it landed on the Panda or
No, the Audi.
or the well, we're going to sell the Audi, so that'd be nice, wouldn't it? A bit of money in. But there is a lot of stuff going on. Solar flares were detected the other day that weren't detected when they left the sun or something like that. And
Radio blackout.
Where was that?
Australia and Europe, just for a couple of over a course of 2 hours.
Yeah, that caused a radio blackout over Europe and Australia for about 2 hours. Don't hear about that in the news, but it's all stuff like that that's happening at the minute. And as I say, we're between two ice ages, so obviously it warms up, and then at certain stages through, it's unpredictable weather, and then it goes down. And
Greenland has gained
Yeah, Greenland has gained how much ice?
Greenland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's
Oh.
gained the most in the last 15 years.
So Greenland has gained the most ice in gained the most ice over from the last 15 years. And where was the other place?
The Antarctic.
The Antarctic
It's the thickest, most dense ice for at least 55 years.
the Antarctic is the thickest and most dense ice for over 55 years. So
I can pull up electroverse.
no, don't, Tina, because it gives me a headache.
It's not only the North Pole that's shifting either. The South Pole's on its way to what are the obviously southern
Yeah.
countries?
I ain't going off-roading that bloody Panda. Sod that. That's why I've got a Range Rover. Yeah, you go off-road in comfort. Suzuki Samurai. The old Suzukis that were the SJ 410s, was it? They were absolutely awful on the road. Terrible. Worst thing ever. 50 mile an hour, you didn't want to go any faster than that. But when you get them off-road, they was like mountain goats. Really were spot on. But the Panda, it's got road tyres on it, so it's never going to be great. But it's quite capable. Tina,
Eh?
you've got to look up Professor Simon Holland
I think I might have seen
on YouTube.
on YouTube.
Yeah, Professor Simon Holland on YouTube, as he's on our side of the channel.
Oh right.
Yeah, so the Pandas, if you watch YouTube videos on the 4x4 Panda, they are brilliant off-roading. Limited on ground clearance, but and if you got a good set of tyres on it, they're like mountain goats, but they're uncomfortable, cramped, horrible, noisy. I do like off-roading, but in the comfort of a Range Rover. The Panda is coming on, slowly but bloody surely. Oh, I've had some headaches for that. We've got new wheel bearings for it, all round. So I was putting them on the passenger side today, putting all the hub back on. I've already done the shocks and springs. And you see her, she's on her iPad already.
I found him.
What's he talking about?
All sorts. UK's Area 51. What caused World Trade Center Building 7 to collapse? Orphan Nest. Secret history. Earthlights. I will have a look.
Oh, she's off on one now.
UFOs. I'm not so sure about UFOs. Well, if there are UFOs, they'll run a bloody mile, won't they?
Yeah. I mean, if aliens have been watching us, they're not going to hang around, are they? Come on. So yeah, I was putting the wheel bearing on today. I've got all the hub bolted up, got it all on, got the lower arm on, got all that nipped up. You know, I jacked it up so that it's sitting on the lower arm with the wheel on, the weight of the car on it. And I tightened it up so it doesn't twist the bush. Did all that. Went to put the brake caliper, the pad carrier. Oh, it wouldn't go on. I'd only bloody put it on the wrong way around, so I had to take it all off again. Take the wheel bearing out, swap the bits around that I'd got wrong. I just couldn't remember how it went, and I got the other side taken apart where I could see it, but I wasn't going to get on my knees to go around the other side of the car to come all the way back round again. I'll just put it back together how it looked right. Oh, anyway, I did all that. Put it all back together. One of the bolts, the bloody threads went on it. Oh, so I was having a right old game with it today. But we got that side done. Oh, that's right. And then I put the brake pads in. Got little spring clips on the bottom. They're all on. Bit of copper grease on it. Went to put the caliper on. Won't go on. What have I done wrong? The new pads are so bloody thick. They're too thick to fit inside the caliper. So I took them off. I ground them up a little bit with a sanding disc. Put them back on. Got the caliper on. Got it all buttoned up. It is a little bit stiff to turn it, but that'll bed in. You know, when we get it all back on the floor and Hobbit can start driving it around the field and bed the brakes in. Because I won't have ground them perfectly flat, so should have to square them up a little bit. Oh, it was just one of those bloody headache days today. Nothing went right. I was working on the chainsaw, and I was doing a video because I was going to do a video on how to properly tune your chainsaw, because there is a way of doing it properly. And I'm doing this video. I says, whatever you do, when you're putting the chain back on, make sure it's running the right way. I said, you'll be surprised at how many people put it on backwards and realise don't know why it won't cut. Anyway, I put it on and I had to piss about because the chain adjuster's knackered on it. So I took it on and off a couple of times. Anyway, the third time I put it on, got it all bolted up lovely. I'm just adjusting it up. Oh, I've only gone and put the chain on backwards. What a bloody dickhead. So anyway, I've ordered a new chain adjuster. It's Dad's chainsaw. And I think he must have lost a bolt out of it because he's put another bolt in there with a Phillips screw head, and it shouldn't be that because it's really awkward to adjust. So I've ordered a proper one with it's just a straight screwdriver, because the chainsaw tool, it's got like the plug spanner at one end, and then the spike comes out with a flat blade screwdriver on the end of it. So I thought, well, it shouldn't have been a Phillips screw. So I'll have to ask him when I speak to him, see if he's actually changed that. But anyway, I've ordered a new one, so that should be here at some point. So yeah, nothing seems to be going quite to plan. But tomorrow I'm going to get outside and before the Hobbit goes to work, and have a look at this TD6. See about getting that. What's it called? Intercooler hose. See if I can get that back on, because apparently it's just popped off the intercooler. I've not been having a look down to see if I can see it. So that's tomorrow's job. And while it's up there, I'm going to wire up the solar panel, because I've got sockets, not sockets, but I've got all the electrics are in the back. Well, there's electrics everywhere on a Range Rover, but in the back you've got a positive plug. Thank you. And a negative, because you can get a kit. You can get a kit where you can put a second battery in the boot on the L322, and it just wires up in the boot, because you've got your positive terminal which powers all the electrics in the back of the car, and you've got your negative. So I might wire up my solar panel to those 2 points in the boot, and I can just leave the solar panel in the car, and I ain't got wires trailing around under the bonnet and stuff. So that is the plan for that tomorrow. Oh, it'd be nice if this weather does cheer up a little bit, because it is getting not depressed. I don't get depressed, but
No, you should start getting everything.
yeah, as the Hobbit's just pointing out, no, you don't get depressed. It's just everything goes wrong, which I should have stayed in bed. But yeah, so that's that. I've got a chap actually interested in the Audi, so he's going to get in touch tomorrow, possibly come and have a look. He's only an hour away, so he might come and have a look at that. We'll have to get that started again. It was on charge, and the Hobbit moved it round when we put the Range Rover back on charge again. And she went to start it the other day, and it did start, but it was just a little bit hesitant, you know. So we might, if this solar panel works on the TD6, then I'll put the Audi back on the C-Tech charger, because, you know, keep it topped up, because they don't get used. If we start it up and move it, it's not charging the battery, is it? Especially on like the Audi, and I think the old Range Rover, the TDV8's got an intelligent charging system on it, the alternator is ECU controlled. So basically, the ECU tells the alternator how much charge to put in the battery. You know, it knows what it needs. So although it's a very, very high output alternator, it doesn't put out a lot, only when it needs it. So that only charges at about 13.8 volts. That's the most I've ever seen. Sometimes it went up to 14. Now on, even when you rev it up, it makes no difference. Years ago when I was in a garage, or even when I was on the breakdown trucks, you know, we used to go out and jump start people and test the battery. So look, your battery's at it. While it's running, take it into a garage, because they won't let us keep coming out to you as a call out if we've already told you what the fault is. So we used to test the batteries. You know, normally about 13.5, 13.8 at idle. You used to take the revs up, go to about 14.5 on like the older cars, you know, the charging systems. So the Audi, that does that. It's got like an old style alternator on it, because that's 2004. The TD6 is 2002. The Panda is prehistoric.
1987.
Yeah, that's 87. So that's a classic, basically. We could register that as a classic car in France, and we'd only have to MOT it every 5 years.
See you in a minute.
So yeah, see in a bit. So that might be something we look into at some point. But yeah, so that's the plan. Get a solar panel on the Range Rover, and get the Audi back on charge around the corner. Hopefully sell it. Yeah, we've had that one before. You need to stop spending your money, Mr. Dibbles. You're not on holiday anymore. You're here to live and work. Stop buying expensive cheese. You've got to get out of holiday mode. But yes, there's always a nice cheese to be had. You won't say that when you've got no money, Mr. Dibbles. Oh, another subject I was going to talk about tonight is solar power. Well, I don't really know much about solar power. I've got that solar panel for the car. I'm going to have to clean my glasses. I can't see a bloody thing. I'll say I've got the solar panel for the car, and it open circuit puts out 20 volts. Now I thought that was going to be too much for the car, but thinking about it, that's open circuit. So once you get it on a battery, which I've done a video on it actually, I was testing it. Once you get it on a battery, it doesn't put out 20 volts, does it? Because it's got a load on it. See if I can get these glasses a bit cleaner. Whoa! I can I don't know if my eyes are getting bad or what. I can't read anything on that screen. Now, I used to need wearing glasses all the time. But what I used to find was, if I didn't put them on, or if I didn't have them with me, I'd need to read something. Like get up to the garage and I need to read instructions or something. And so what I used to find was I'd put my glasses on because that's the only way I could put them. If I put them up on my head, I don't know. I mean, I do wash often, but my hair's always a bit greasy, so they used to make my bloody glasses go a bit smeary. But yeah. So I can read everything now. Funny that, isn't it? Yeah, solar power. So I don't know if any of you lot are whizzes with solar power, solar panels for your house. Now, we had a chap come round when we first got this house. EDF or Enedis or whatever they're called now was doing a promotion where friends of ours had it actually. They had solar panels put on their roof over here in France, free of charge. But they didn't get any benefit from those panels for the first 10 years. Now, these solar panels are sort of got a 20, 25 year lifespan. So after the 10 years, they might see a benefit. But it didn't cost them anything to have them put on the roof. So they had this deal going, or something was going. So we got in touch, and a bloke comes out, and he pulled up outside the garage. Obviously saw the Range Rover sat there. Thought these pair of mugs have got a lot of money. So anyway, comes in and he's looking all around the house on the roof. He says, "Yeah, we can get 7 panels up there, blah blah blah, and we buy it back from you at this price, and we sell it back to you at that price." And it was like, oh. And then in the end, he said that'll cost you €13,000. I'm like, "See you later, mate." So we said, "No thanks." You know, the idea was that you put the solar panels on and we might benefit from them in a couple of years' time, sort of thing. So he went away. He kept pestering us. He said he dropped it down to 11,000. I said to Tina, I know what he's done. He's pulled up. Since we've got a Range Rover, they're minted. We'll tap them up for a bit of money. But so we just left it. Anyway, we're on this new Linky meter. Now, before we was on that, we was having a lot of trouble with our electrics. We had, because in the UK you get a certain amount of electric in your house and that's it. In France, you're on stages. Starts off at 6 kVA, 9 kVA, 12, 15, I think, and I think you can go up to 18. Now we're on 3 phase, and our bill said we was on 6 kVA, which is crap. You know, you've got the oven on, you switch the kettle on, the power trips off. You know, kettle's nearly 3 kilowatts. Oven's 3.5. So we got in touch, said, "Can you up the power?" Now, before we had the Linky meter on the wall, the engineer had to come out to the house to do it. So he comes out, takes the cover off. He says, "You're already on 9. He says, "Do you want me to?" He said, "I'll phone him up." He said, "I'll put you up to 12. So they put us up to 12. Now, we were still tripping off the power. For whatever reason, I don't know what was going on. We was checking the circuits, whether we'd overloaded the circuits. Because Dad's wired the house up for us, and French electrics are terrible. Because you don't have a ring main or anything like that. And it's really bloody complicated. Well, not complicated. If you're used to English electrics, French electrics is nothing like. Anyway, we were still having trouble, so we was having to be really careful what we was switching on. We couldn't have the air fryer on with the dishwasher and the kettle, or if we had the kettle on, and if we had the dishwasher and the air fryer on, and Tina flicked the kettle on, boom, off it goes again. So we was having to be careful what we was using, and but it wasn't flipping off the circuits. Because on the board, we've got all the circuits, have got their own switch. It was tripping off the main power. Anyway, I said at some point we're just going to have to up the power again. They fitted these Linky meters, which there's been a lot of good and bad in France about these meters. They're smart meters, so they don't have to come out to your house anymore to read the meter. They can up your power remotely. They don't have to come to your house to do it anymore. So the bloke come out, he was about 20 minutes, he took the old one off, he opened the little box on the bottom where the first engineer changed all the switches to get us 12 kVA. He set all that, he said, I've set that now, he says you're on 20 some, I'm sure he said 20 amps. If you want any more, phone them up and they'll do it remotely. So we're still on 12 kVA, and since then, touch wood, our electric has not tripped off once. Now, whether it was our old meter was a little bit fragile and couldn't cope with the surges that we was putting on it with the kettles, you know, and the dishwasher and the air fryer and the deep fat fryer, which we don't use very often. If I'm doing like Chinese and stuff, I use that. We use the air fryer quite a bit. Since then, it's not tripped off. So it's bloody marvellous. But our bills, evening, that'll be Sam in the house. Our bills, because we have the grow lights going. When I get the chilies going, we have the heat mat, the grow lights. And obviously with this linking meter, you can go online and you can see exactly how much you're paying on your electric every month. And so Tina looks back on last year. So we are down on power that we used this time last year, but it's still a bit higher than previous months. So it's like, what are we using? So we were sort of toying with the idea of setting up a solar system. We don't want to go off grid because you've really got to have a lot of solar panels for that. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at doing it myself. It's a hybrid inverter, which is a solar charge controller, a battery charger, and an inverter. It's 5 kVA, peaks at 8,000. You can plug your AC power into it, and then you can take AC out. So if you're using a battery bank and the power that you're demanding is too much for your batteries, it will take the battery power and it will also suck some from the grid. I'm not interested in tying it to the grid so that we're selling it back to them and then that's just a headache. But it looked like I just don't know enough. I've got to do a lot of research. Probably have a 48 volt system, which looks like the best for a house. The 48 volt hybrid inverter, that was quite reasonable. I've seen some for 600 and I've seen one for €800, but that's all in one. It's just a box you screw on the wall. Solar panels go in, batteries out, AC in. But I don't know how many panels I'd need and how many batteries. So yeah, so it doesn't matter what country you're in. It's just the knowledge of what you're going to need. I mean, I'm 48 volt system. I could get two 24 volt solar panels, which are 350 watts each, with an open circuit voltage of 38 volts per panel. So if you wire them in series, you get obviously 48 volts, 48 volt panels, but it will put out more than that. But the hybrid inverter that I'm looking at can take anywhere between very low volts right up to 450 volts in. That's the thing. I mean, if we start small, 4 batteries wired in series to make 48 volts, a couple of panels. If that turns out that it's not going to be enough to power the house, we can always add more panels. But I've not been on any forums or anything to find out if what I need battery wise, because I was looking at 4 100 amp hour, obviously deep cycle batteries. Car batteries are no good because the way that they discharge their current is totally different from a deep cycle battery. But so I'm thinking of doing that, getting the hybrid inverter, a couple of solar panels, 4 batteries and all wiring, and seeing what it will power. You can then, if you want to go that route, you can then wire it. That's 5 kilowatt kVA, so 5,000 watts constant, and it will peak at 8,000, which is the big thing. If you've got like motors starting up, like in fridges and stuff like that, you need that extra wattage. Because I did some sums with our fridge. Our fridge is 116 watts, but they reckon when it starts up, you need to times that by 10 for the surge. So you need 1,600 watts available for when your fridge fires up. But once it's fired up, it only consumes 116 watts, 160, whatever it was. So it was that might have been what's melting my brain, this last week. Trying to work out all this solar panel stuff. The Hobbit is really keen on it because she's not convinced, but we want to be as self-sufficient as possible. Grow our own food, and Andy, I'll write all these ones down because I'll forget these. Andy Kirby. What's that other one? EEV blog. Yeah, be as self-sufficient as we possibly can be when it comes to food. A lot of people, they didn't take the piss. Now, Mr. Dibbles will tell you, when he comes round, we always say, go and have a look in the cellar. Now, I shouldn't tell too many people this, because if the shit does hit the fan, they'll be knocking on our door wanting food. But our cellar is like a bloody shop down there. It's all racked out. Now, the Hobbit has taken up canning. It's a big thing in America, apparently. Basically, you can your food in a jar. She's got a pressure canner coming. She kept going on and on and on about it, and I must have sold something also. We got a bit of money, and she said how much it was. I thought, that's a bloody good price. I said, just bloody order it. I said, stop hovering, order it. So she's ordered this pressure canner, but she's been water bath canning. So her idea is canned foods will store indefinitely. If we was to have trouble with the power and the freezers go down, all the food that's in the freezer is wasted, or you've got to do something with it quick. If you know that our freezer's outside, we've got one indoors and we've got two outside. I think 2, 3, no. Anyway, we got a main freezer indoors and we got a couple outside. If they was to go down, we didn't know about it. It wouldn't take long for food to go off. So canning stuff seems to be the way forward. So she's treated herself to a pressure canner. Now, pressure canning is, you can water bath can, but it takes, say, 3 hours to do it. But the pressure one does it in half the time. So she's really getting into that and getting our cellar stocked up. But it's all part of being self-sufficient. We've got a lot of stuff growing in the garden. And we've got more potatoes than we know what we're going to be able to do with. So storing potatoes is always a bit tricky. Our cellar is quite humid. She said the other day, we got a meter down there. She said the other day it was 90% humidity down there. It does depend a lot on the weather. When it's been really, really raining like it has been doing, obviously the cellar's underground. It doesn't get wet in there, but it does get damp in the air. So some things don't really keep very well in all that humidity. So what do? You freeze it or you can can it. Now, our freezers are pretty full at the minute anyway. Perhaps that's what we should try. I'll put the grow lights down there. Start a little factory. So yeah, that is the plan. So we've got all these potatoes. Garlics, we're going to dig the garlics up this week. We probably should have dug them up before now, but I can't get out there. It's been so wet, and we need to dig all the garlics up. I think the onions are ready to come up. So the garlics we can dry and we can hang them up. Onions, we can put them in nets. But the potatoes, we're going to have so many of them because they're doing really well this year. Last year, not so well. We had a massive blight problem last year. Whether it was the potatoes that we put in or whatever, I don't know, but we had to destroy them all. We did manage to save a few potatoes, and we ate them. we wasn't going to try regrowing them, putting them in, mixing as well now. Look, good evening, Mick. That's us on here for another couple of hours then. Well, yeah. Hopefully it doesn't bore the people that were on at the start. Yeah, vodka. Hobbit was on about getting some vodka in the other day. I did put a community post out the other day saying I was going to do one, but not everybody sees it. I should have given people a bit more warning. But I thought, oh, well, I'll just do a thing and discuss some topics. So, Mick, what do you know about solar power? I've had a few people pointing me in the directions, but... So I'm going to have to go through everything. He don't know anything about solar power, Tina, so that's him. Don't buy an INL. No. There is a funny story to that, actually. They sent it back and they told me that there was too much engine oil in it and it was diesel in the petrol. And I said, what a load of bollocks. I said, there's no diesel in the petrol. We keep our diesel and petrol set. We got a bloody 700 litre tank full of red diesel and we got cans that got petrol in it. We never mix them up, do we? Hobbit. Anyway. Gets the generator back. It starts up. It was damaged, as you might have seen if you watched the video. But they did send out the parts and I fixed it. So that's all up and running now. That starts and runs perfectly. First pull, off it goes. Anyway, I did a video on the Hater Harrier. Could not get it running. I put a new coil on it, new spark plug. It would not run. It got a lovely spark. I was really scratching my head. And I said to Tina, we put petrol in this out of the same can that we used for the generator. I wonder if there actually was diesel in the in the petrol. But it couldn't have got in there from us because that can has only ever had petrol in it. I don't know if it happened up at the pumps up where she gets the petrol from or what, I don't know. There's no way. We have made disastrous cock-ups before. Tina put neat petrol in the chainsaw, fired it up fine, was using it, and then it locked up. I went out there and had a look at it and I was playing, because on the little chainsaw it's got an auto-tune carburetor, so once you fire it up, if it's not running right, you hold the revs flat out and the carburetor tunes itself to the state that it's in. So if you've got a dirty air filter, the carburetor tunes itself to a dirty air filter. So of course I fired it up, got it running, and I said, it's not revving up right. I said, it's this bloody auto-tune carburetor. So I'm holding it flat out, and it just and then it was, oh, what's going on? I said, what petrol did you put in this? Anyway, it turns out she put neat petrol in it, so there's no oil in the petrol whatsoever. So that's seized up. So it's not the first time we've cocked up with the fuel cans, but there's no way that we'd put diesel in the petrol at all. So how it got there, I do not know. So I drained the petrol out of the Hater. It fired up first bloody pull, didn't it? Put neat petrol in it rather than petrol diesel mix. Years ago, when I was working at the first garage, we used to have a car there, an old Maxi. You could put whatever you wanted in that. Actually, our old breakdown truck at that garage was an old Ford A series, and it had the 3.6 York engine in it, 6-cylinder. Absolutely bloody hopeless. It would never start without the old easy start. They came from the factory with an ether pump on the dashboard. Used to pump it up, crank it, and it would fire up. The ether pump had been removed, so we had in the locker. We had a tin of Easy Start. You could put anything in that. Once you got it running, it would run. You know, petrol, paraffin, diesel. or petrol paraffin diesel mix. You know, you can't put neat petrol in it but yeah, it used to smoke a little bit. But yeah, we had a Maxi. You could put anything in that, and it would run. Now, another garage I was working at, I had a BMW 5 Series, had a 2.7 engine in it, and it was a 525, but the engine was a 2.7. It's quite powerful for what it was, but it handled like a boat. I put some lowering springs on it, and it really tightened it up. It was lovely, you know. We had the forecourt at the front of the garage, and somebody came in with a minibus and wrong filled it up with petrol. So of course we brought it into the workshop, drained it all out. The boss said to me, he says, there's only a little bit of diesel in it. He said, it'd be all right, do you want to put it in your car? Because obviously it was a really first, if I could get 20 to the gallon out of it on a run, that was good. So I said, oh yeah, bloody free petrol, lovely jubbly. And so I filled the car up. On the way home, it was coughing and spluttering. Thought, shit. And it would not run right. Bloody thing, it was awful. So over the weekend, because it used to use so much fuel, over the weekend I emptied the tank anyway, so filled it up with fresh petrol after that, and it was all right. I thought, never again. Someone wrong fuels their car, they can tip it down the drain, or not down the drain, but dispose of it. But yeah. So that is the plan. Let me get some light on the job here. Is that too much? Ooh. So yeah, as I was saying previously on the live stream, 7 of you in now. The Ben's Garage event, if it comes off next year. Oh, the ramp! Have I got a picture of the ramp? I'll tell you what, Mick, the ramp. I don't know if I've got a picture. Have you got a picture of the ramp, Tina?
Yeah, give me a second. Do you want me to airdrop it?
Yeah, if you've got one on your iPad.
Yeah, I'll take one.
The ramp. I didn't actually do it myself. I was planning on doing it. It was getting to the point where it had to be done because the boards were falling off. The wheelchair was almost about to go through it, and I said to Tina, I says, I'm gonna have to just do it. Get off out of the wheelchair and scrat around on the floor and get this ramp done because it's getting to the point now where it's awful. Anyway, I kept umming and ahhing. How am I going to do it? And I was thinking of plans in my head. Have we got this materials? Have we got that? Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is it coming?
Yeah.
So I said, got in touch with my dad. I said, do you fancy giving us a hand? I said, I've got all the bits. It's my arse. That's right. I've got this bloody pressure sore on my arse. Well, I spend all day sat down, don't I? I've got an air cushion and I get off and I do this and do that, but this bloody pressure sore will not clear up.
I'm sending you a before as well.
All right. And anyway, so I was sort of like, I'm gonna have to get on the floor and do it. Anyway, I said, I've got in touch with my dad. I says, do you fancy coming over and just not helping me, but having a go at doing this ramp? We decided we want a bit of decking out the front of the house so that in this hot summer that we've not had yet, in the evening, the sun's around the other side of the house. So out the front is quite in the shade and it's quite nice. There's a little breeze. So we can put the table out there with a bit of room for a barbecue. So he said, yeah, we'll pop over. He come over on Friday. So I'll have to show you on here. This is the before. That's the before. This is the after. I have since tidied it up a little bit. On the front there, it's all open. I've actually put some decking boards across the front, so it's neatened it up a little bit. We've just got a concrete in the sides, but we're actually going to put a gate on there and fence off the front, so that when we're sat out there, we can have the French doors open and the dogs can go in and out. I don't know if you can see on that. If you notice in the window, that's me. we've got to trim that tree this year actually, because we don't want to get rid of it because it's a nice tree. When it comes out in blossom, it normally comes out end of July, August time. It's called a Lagerstromia. Lagerstromia. Really nice tree. When the blossom comes out, and then it all falls off and it just looks shit for the rest of the year. Yeah, but it's got funny bark on it. All the bark seems to fall off. But yeah, so we don't want to get rid of the tree. We've taken one of the trees. We had these big like cypress things out the front. We've taken one out. The other one, I can take it out, but I don't think I want to dig it out because the electrics go underground, right under that tree. So, knowing my luck with the digger, I'll leave well alone. So yeah, the ramp has been done. It just needs finishing off. I've got concrete the ends and put some fence posts in and fix them to it, and we can put a little gate and fence across the front then. And it'll just so the dogs can get all the way around the house then. Plus we can sit out there with the doors open and the dogs can in and out. All this stuff we're doing just for the bleeding dogs. Yeah, I did say to Tina the other day, actually, when it was raining, I said, do you see how slippery that ramp is out there? And actually, it was absolutely soaking wet, and she was trying to slip on it. Now, that's probably not going to make it slip, is it? She's going to slip on it when she least expects it. But yeah, we'll test it out when it's raining, see if I can get traction on my wheelchair going up it. Well, I don't go out in the rain, so... But yeah, that's one job ticked off the list. The Audi is all back together. That's ready to go. It's up for sale. So that's another job ticked off the list. Chicken white, yeah, I did. We was on about chicken white, but maybe some of that the square stuff. I don't know why that is, but I have seen it. They used to use it on. They used to use it on like the not national parks. They didn't have them in the UK, like country parks and that in the UK. Where they used to have like bridges made out of sleepers, they used to fix on some like this mesh stuff. If it did get slippery, we'd put a bit of that on. But the angle's not that bad, really. Glue and sand, yeah, we'll do that. We used to do that on the rollers at the first garage I used to work at. Obviously, the brake testing rollers for the MOT, they used to wear smooth. So before the ministry man used to come out for his annual visit, we used to strip them off. We used to paint like this tar stuff on it. And used to put like this grit. Used to roll them round and just drop this grit on it, sweep it up, put a bit more on, sweep it up, put a bit more on. I remember doing that. It was a dirty old job. But yeah. Grip deck. There's probably something like that over here. Or if not, there's no... Getting stuff shipped over here from the UK now is not on. You can't do it. Not reasonable price. It's got well out of hand. I was looking at subframes for the Range Rover. I don't really want to get from the UK because they could be as rusty as the ones I've got on it. Obviously, I know the adverts say, "Oh yeah, it's good, it's solid, it's blah blah blah," but it's still rusty. If I can get it in Europe, we don't use salt. They put stuff on the roads, but it's not corrosive like the salt in the UK. So I was looking at subframes. I found a front one, £200. They wanted £70 postage and then £75 customs and duty. It gets quite expensive after, totting all that up. Yeah, I don't need any more punches, Mick. I'm in the second wheelchair at the moment, which is not great. I changed the spokes in my wheelchair the other day. I had 3 broken spokes on one wheel. Normally 1 or 2 I cope with, but then the third one went the other day coming out of the garage because there's like a drain in front of the door of the garage, and as I went down it, I heard a dunk. I thought, oh, what was that? I had a feel on my wheels. That was the third spoke, and I thought, any more, and the wheel's just going to buckle. So I said to Tina about it, and I was like, we better get it done. So anyway, I gets in there. I've got spare spokes, because when the bloke came out to do the wheelchair last time, he left me with some spare spokes. And I took the tyre off, took the tube out, took the little bit of rim tape out, changed the spokes, and putting it all back together, I must have nipped the bloody tube because it won't hold air. So I took it all off, put a puncture repair kit on it, put it all back together, and it holds air, but just not for as long. Oh, so we've got new tubes coming. Hopefully tomorrow, and I can get them fitted. Is the diet not working still? The diet was working if I was still on it. We've had a bit of a lapse on the diet, and I have put some weight back on, but we're back on it again now. Oh dear, I don't know what's been going on. We've just been having not excessive food, but our portion sizes. When we're cooking, we just tend to make so much food. I think the trouble is we've got such a big pan that we put stuff in there, and it's like, well, that don't look much. The time it's on your plate is huge, and it's like, oh, can't waste it. The dogs aren't having that. So, yeah, I have put a bit more back on, especially around my gut and that. But I've not been doing the exercise on the bike for the reason being, I've got the chair the chair that I use to get onto the bike is up in the garage, and that's been up there while I've been trying to get the Range Rover done. So tomorrow I will hopefully get this intercooler tube put back on. We can bring the chair back indoors, and I can get back on the exercise bike and start putting in the miles and sort the portion controls out on our meals. Yeah, I don't feel I've not put all the weight back on, but yeah, it has gone back on a little bit. But we was a bit naughty. I was on Instagram and this bloody fudge recipe come up, and I was like, oh, do you know what? That was bloody lovely. I've never made fudge before. I think I have once actually, and it turned out it ran out off the tray, so I ended up using it as an ice cream sauce. So I said to Tina, can you get me these bits and pieces when you go shopping, and I'll make this fudge? And I made it. It was bloody lovely, and it didn't last very long. And it's just stuff like that's been happening. So we're back on it now. I'm trying to get the portions under control again. We don't snack a lot. I have a yogurt for breakfast. I was having a lot of bread. We was having pizzas more regular than we normally do. Tina did make me a pork pie about that round. Not recently, that was quite a while ago. We've got smaller plates. We had to get the big ones out because we was just making too much food. But now Tina's got into the canning, we dish up on smaller plates. If there's enough left over for another meal for the two of us, she puts it in a jar, cans it. It goes down in the dungeon. So we've got a few meals like that down in there now. So all this diet, it's just habit, isn't it? You get into I got into the habit of eating small meals just at meal times. I was in the habit of doing exercise. It's not easy to burn calories when you're in a wheelchair. So you've got to obviously reduce your calories that are going in. Otherwise, there's just no point. And I might have been comfort eating as well, because when it all goes wrong, it's like, oh, fuck it, and the weather's shit, it's like, oh, let's have a bar of chocolate or something, or let's have a load of cheese. Anyway, Pringles, that's another one. Pringles. When I'm really rough, if I feel like shit, normally years ago when you had a day off school, your mum would get you your Lucozade out of your, it used to be wrapped in see-through plastic, didn't it? The Lucozade bottle. When I'm ill, I always fancy Pringles for some reason. So you'd have your Lucozade and you'd fancy a slice of toast. I think my dad's the same. Whenever he's ill, he always fancies something like a bit of toast or something like that. So well, you can't be that bloody ill, but when I'm really ill, like that year I was bad, I said to him, I said, I don't fancy it. I said, while you're out, can you get me some Pringles? So yeah. But we're back on it. Hopefully it'll work. I'll say I do my leg exercises every morning on the bed before I get up. Well, I wake up, get dressed, I do my leg exercises, then I get on the wheelchair, go through to the other room and have breakfast. So I used to have my breakfast and then go through and get on the old exercise bike and do 20 minutes, half an hour on that. New tractor is bloody marvellous. Oh, it's lovely. Power steering. Power. It's got the power. Well, it's only 27 horsepower, but that's plenty for our needs. It powers that mower, no problem at all. I've had to put it in four-wheel drive a couple of times. It was a bit wet one day, and round the back where it starts going slightly up, it's got those sort of turf tyres on it. I don't know what they call them, industrial tyres. They're not aggressive agricultural tyres. If the grass is a bit damp and you're trying to go uphill and round a corner, you will get one wheel spinning a little bit. So I push the old diff lock down. Normally that does it. But of course, when you put the diff lock in, it doesn't like to steer very well. So if you're getting close to the fence and you need to turn, if you put the diff lock in, you're going straight. It does turn a little bit, but not a lot. And I've got the brakes locked, so I can't steer it with the brakes. I don't know if my leg's strong enough to do that anyway. It probably would be. But, so yeah, the other day it was messing about, so I just put it in four-wheel drive. Which that reminds me, that's a job I've got to do. That was very stiff, that lever. I've got to lubricate that. But yeah, it's very nice, that tractor. It's a lot nice. It's a lot bigger and nicer than the last one we had. I feel like Lord of the Manor when I'm driving around in the Range Rover. Off-roading in style. No, I haven't sorted the roll bar out. You shouldn't worry so much, Mick. I'm fine. It's all flat here, apart from they're not hills, are they? They're just... if I put the roll bar up, I can't get under the trees. Plus, I was going to do it actually, but I can't find the right pins. Obviously the bolts are there and it's hinged down. There's a little cubby hole in the floor and there was some pins in there. I thought, that'll be for the roll bar. No, they don't fit. So, a video on the tractor. Well, I could do, I suppose. I was going to do a video. We've got a new bit of kit. We've got the Hobbit keeps calling it a carpet sweeper. But it's a lawn sweeper. Now, we cut the grass and the Hobbit was raking it up, putting it in the trailer and putting it on the garden. And I said, why don't we get one of these lawn sweepers that you tow behind and it flicks the grass up into the box. So anyway, we got one. So I might do a video on the lawn sweeper and then have a little bit of a look at the tractor as well. Go over it, show you what it has got, and hard up. Yeah, we are hard up, but she found it cheap second hand. I was going to buy a new one. They were about €240 on Amazon, delivered. And when we was in a position where I had a bit of money to buy one, yeah, I've not put a video on there for a while, actually. I must do one. I went back on Amazon. They were €400. I thought, sod that. So The Hobbit went on Le Bon Coin, found a second-hand one. And it was only 20 minutes up the road. So she brought it home. We got it all set up and it's lovely. Flicks grass in, no problem at all. And we've got a massive pile of it over next to the shooting range. And she's been sticking it on the garden already, putting it around the plants. Hopefully it's going to keep the weeds down a little bit because they're just a bloody nightmare at the minute, the weeds. Yeah, the Hobbit's working. Sending her out. She picked up another job today. Don't know how regular that's going to be, but yeah, she does 40 hours a month at the campsite. So that gets her out of the house. So yeah, I'm a kept man now. But yeah, she works at the camp. The campsite's 4 kilometres away. Well, yeah, it's empty. I won't have another one because I'll be pissing all night. And but yeah, so she does 40 hours a month at the campsite. It was going to be a lot of everything, cleaning, ironing, because they've got how many mobile homes? They got 6.
7.
You've got 7 mobile homes up there, and then they got a lot of pitches for camping cars, caravans and tents, electric hookups, this, that, and the other. So the first day she went, she was doing a lot of ironing and stuff. She doesn't really enjoy that, but it's money at the end of the day. But then they got her doing some work on the grounds, doing the gardening side of things. Now, we used to have a gardening business, so we've got all the tools. So she turns up with her own tools, absolutely blitzes the place. And they're like, you're so efficient, blah, blah, blah. So basically now she's the gardener, which she would rather do. So that's her for 40 hours a month out of the house. And then the nurse nurse was out today and she's damaged herself and she needs her garden sorting out. So she's got some work up there. And it's all done through the scheme Check to Apply. So Tina doesn't have to actually be registered. Normally to work in France, you've got to be registered, have a CIRE number, or be employed by someone. When we was gardening, the business was registered. I was registered as the gardener. I had a CIRE number. The Hobbit had a CIRE number. When you've got a CIRE number, you can advertise this, that, and the other, and people can look up your CIRE number on a website and see what you're actually registered to do. If you're doing a job that you're not registered to do, you can get in a lot of trouble. But the Hobbit hasn't been registered since I've been in hospital. So we both ceased our activities on that. So we haven't got a CIRE number anymore. So this job at the campsite, they call it a check to employ, which basically they pay her a wage, but all the costs are deducted out of it before she gets it. So basically, they're paying all her tax and stuff. She gets her money paid at the end of the month, straight in the bank, and it's all legal and above board. So the nurse is taking her on the same scheme as well. So it's quite easy to do. You can do it all online, set it up. So that's all. That's her, all official, working. I just need to get the Panda fixed because she keeps taking all her tools to work in the bloody Range Rover. Can't be helped at the minute, but there you go. How far in the south of France have they gone? Because it's bloody crap here. Well, we're not south. We're sort of in the middle. South of the middle. Yeah, get the Panda fixed. That is the thing. But yeah, so Pegomar. Let me see where that is. I should be back in a mo. Let me see where that is compared to us. That's near Monaco. That is a long way. Nice, Cannes. That's from here, 8 hours, 24 minutes. France is a big country. Yes. In one day. I mean, that's something I would have done years ago. Obviously, being a recovery truck driver, that back in the day there were no driver hours for recovery trucks. So it was like work. I mean, the first recovery firm I worked for, we did 6 days on and had 2 days off. Now, I remember once in the winter, we had quite a bad winter when I was living in Peterborough. I didn't go home for 6 days. It was just constant. And of course, you don't turn the money down, do you? A lot of it was because I was the mechanic and I had the truck with all the tools and the spec lift, and it was pretty much local. If I went 50 miles, that was a long way, but it was like all the time. We used to all meet up at I Services in Peterborough. We'd eat there. The boss would buy us meals. He'd meet us there, and we'd have a bit of kip in the truck because the weather was so bad. There was cars crashing, skidding off the road, breaking down. Yeah, I'd have done 1,000 miles piece of cake back then. Now it's like half hour up the road. It's like, I had enough of this. Last time we drove back to the UK, it was all right, but you know, I've done it so many times now, and it gets boring. I've done it so many times on a motorbike. I've done it so many times in a car and vans. We went back to the UK when we had to pick up the tipper truck. That was a steady old drive. Back, at least, because on the 3.5 ton tipper, it's the same speed limit as a car in France. So you can get on the dual carriageways and the motorways, you can go as fast as a car. So you can, if it's 110, you'll have to do 110. If it's 130, you can do 130. As soon as you put a trailer on, you become sort of like the next stage up. So you become sort of like heavy goods. So you're down to the speed limit that the lorries are doing. So going back to the UK, we was empty. I had some furniture on the back for one of my sisters, I think. And while we was in the UK, I bought a twin axle IFA Williams 3.5 ton trailer. And then we went and picked up a John Deere tractor mower. Bloody great thing it was. So driving it back, we had to drive us at the same speed that the lorries were driving. And that was very tedious, you know, because you couldn't get the speed up because you wasn't allowed to go any faster. The truck didn't have the power to get up the hills. So you sat at 100k, you get a hill and you're down to like 70k, and the lorries were flying past us. It's what is going on? Of course, after we got back home, it wasn't long before we got the truck remapped, and it was a different kettle of fish. It would keep at a speed, whatever, towing the trailer, whatever hill. So, but it was so tedious driving it back. It was getting boring, basically. I thought, Joe, I'm not going to do this again. I tell you what, let's not go back to the UK. But I have mentioned earlier on tonight, obviously the Ben's Garage event, if that comes off next year. I don't know who's still on here. I don't know who's on. It just tells me how many of you are watching, and I don't know how many of you have been watching from the start or whatever. But I've been going for 2 hours 15 minutes, talking nonsense again. But yeah, so I've warned people. Obviously, said the Ben's Garage event, blah blah blah. We're going to do this and do that, and everyone said, well, not everyone, but quite a few people said, yeah, I'm interested in that. I said, you do realise how far it is? It's about 750 kilometres from Calais to here. No, you won't land a plane, but if you can get a helicopter, you might be all right in a helicopter. We've not quite got the unless you get one of them planes that land. It's got really short landing takeoff. They have them competitions, certainly in America, where it's the shortest takeoff and shortest landing. If you get one of them planes, you might be all right. It might be a bit too far to come on a paramotor. But yeah, helicopter will be all right. Get yourself a helicopter. We'll make sure that there's a space out there. I'll even paint a H with it in a circle. Stovall. Yeah, they're weird looking planes. They've got bloody great wheels on them. So get one of them. You'll be all right to land it out here. Other than that, no chance. You could probably land at the Moge and we'll come pick you up. Yeah, in the first video I did about the Ben's Garage event, I mean, if any of you are on here that heard it all earlier, I do apologise. But I did say that you can all camp here and I'll get some portaloos in and this, that and the other. But now Tina's working at the campsite, I thought, I'll see what he comments about that one. Now Tina's working at the campsite and it's only 4 kilometres up the road. It might work out cheaper for people that come over if I pay for their camping for the week. Then they've got access to showers and toilets. So that might be an option. But I don't know how much a portaloo is going to cost. You know, it could cost more than what the camping is going to cost. And so the campsite's only 4 kilometres up the road. So that might be an option. If it comes off, you know, if people want to come out, it'll either be, when did I say the cheap months were? I don't want to pay the expensive months. May, June or September is looking promising. July and August, it's too expensive. I'm not paying out that sort of money. Thinking about that might work out quite bloody expensive. Well, it depends how many people turn up. If 10 people turn up, that's 90 quid a night. Oof. She might get a discount, a group discount. But that's all a long way off now. I've had people on I set up a Facebook group, the Ben's Garage event. I said, you know, I don't mind providing food for the people that are going to work on the car. Or if you're not mechanically minded and your skills lay elsewhere, if we can use your talents, we will feed you. But yeah, so obviously I set up the group and there's 16 members on that group and they've all said that they're quite interested, definitely want to come out. Some are mechanically minded, some are not, but keen to learn. So it could be a bit of an educational holiday for some people. We'll have to see how it goes. I'll do another video about that. Throwing out too much. I mean, it can be a long job changing. I mean, I think they give you about 6 to 7 hours to change the front one, and that's if you've done. I think the one I saw on the internet somewhere, the bloke who does them quite regular has got it down to 6 hours. But I'm sure they said somewhere you need like a good day or day and a half to do the front subframe. If you've got to pay someone to do that, it's going to be stupid money. And the idea that I put out there was we're having a garage event out here. Spend a couple of days doing the Range Rover, and then the rest of the week do whatever, you know. If it wasn't to come off, I'd have to do it myself. Simple as that. It will probably take me about a week to do the front one and a week to do the back one. But it would get done in the end, hopefully, if it didn't go wrong, like everything else has gone wrong this week. there'll be more than €30 an hour. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. If this event doesn't come off for whatever reason, you do get mobile mechanics over here, but I don't think they're going to want to tackle a job like that. They'll come and service your car and do stuff like that, but so I think I would end up doing it myself, which is not a problem, but sponsor it. Well, there's always that option, but yeah, we'll get there in the end. Because it'd be nice to get it sorted so that I can get a CT back on it again. If we keep it, we keep it. If we fix it and sell it, we'll fix it and sell it. But if it doesn't cost us too much, I mean, I've got the insurance down to €300 a year now from 600, and but if we can use it on the road, you don't mind paying that, do you? €300. But if it's just going to be used for in the field, there's no point sort of paying that sort of money. You might as well just use the tractor. But we'll have to see. I'll get it fixed. We'll get it for its CT and see what's happening in the world with regards to car sales and stuff like that. Because it is a good car. I mean, it's done us well. We moved house with it, basically. It has got that gearbox. I don't think it's the gearbox. It's the torque converter issue, which I would have to sort out at some point if we kept it. But yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? So yeah, I'm going to get it in the garage tomorrow and have a bit of a fettle with it before the Hobbit goes to work. Hopefully, that's the plan. I shall do videos on it because I need to get some Range Rover content because the old Panda is not getting a lot of love. And I've got a hell of a lot of Panda videos already uploaded on YouTube that I've not released yet. For whatever reason. Well, I don't know. I mean, I suppose I could get quotes and see if we could set up a fund for doing it. But I don't like asking people for money. Just feels a bit wrong to me. You know, I know there's a lot of YouTubers. Oh, join my Patreon, do this and donate here and donate there. And it's just like, well, I do this because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy interacting with you all. Enjoy the videoing process and the editing and all that kind of thing. Plus, it's a record for us later on down the line. If people do donate, I mean, I've got some links. I've got the Buy Me a Coffee link. I've got the donate via PayPal. I've got a Patreon account, but I don't push it. And all that kind of thing. But it feels wrong coming on YouTube and saying, oh, you need to help me out. And so Mum and Dad watch some YouTube channels and they say, well, they're obviously doing something right because they say that they need something and all their subscribers pitch in, and the next thing you know, they've got brand new computers and brand new cameras and stuff like that. I'd feel a bit bad about that. Not bad, but, you know, it takes the piss, if you ask me. Now, we have had a GoFundMe before when I was in hospital. My cousin set one up because obviously I wasn't earning and we still had bills to pay. So he set a GoFundMe up. Let's help Ben with his bills, basically, blah, blah, blah. There was a couple of charity events, a couple of musical charity events held over here. One raised €600, the other one raised over €2,000. You know, that was all appreciated at the time. Tina set up, when I was first doing YouTube, I had this bloody great Canon camera. It was a mini DV with a tape. So it was all recorded on tape, but then you uploaded it onto the computer. So it became digital and then you could edit it and that. Huge bloody great thing. I did put it up and did a giveaway with it. So that's gone off to a new home. It was a cracking camera, but it was just so big and bulky. And when you're in a wheelchair, you don't need stuff like that. So Tina put out a little GoFundMe thing to fund a new camera, which she did. I think we got €200 for that, didn't we? So I put that to. It didn't obviously pay for a camera, but it went a good way towards it. So we've done it a couple of times, and I just think it takes the biscuit. Keep asking people for stuff all the time, and I know a lot of YouTubers do it, but we'll see. I mean, I have had somebody buy me a coffee, and I had somebody the other day donate on PayPal. The only bloody trouble is they're all crafted. Even if people do a super chat on YouTube, which I don't know, because I've done it differently tonight. I should have gone in and done it via YouTube, but I've done it via Streamlabs, and I don't know if I can switch monetization on. I can afterwards, but if someone does a super chat, someone give me a £5 super chat on one live stream, and by the time I got it, it was like £3 something. And YouTube just take a massive chunk out of it. The buy me a coffee people, they take their cut out of it. PayPal. Bloke, he said, thanks for your Range Rover videos. They're really great. I'm really enjoying them. Sent me €5. I think I got about €4 out of that, which you don't mind. But I mean, somebody's sending me €5, but I'm not getting it. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of them things, isn't it? We'll have to see how it goes. Try get the channel a bit bigger. Well, what are we at a minute? Nearly 5,200 subscribers. But yeah, we'll get some more Range Rover content because that brings people in. I know Sam was on here earlier. I don't know if he's still on. I don't know if his videos are the same. If he puts out a Range Rover video, they go up really quick. I mean, mine don't tend to go up because he's obviously got more subscribers than me. If I put a Range Rover video out, it does quite well. The last Range Rover video I put out, it said in the video, the Range Rover video that never happened. I had people complaining that there was no Range Rover content, and all I was doing was talking about the Panda and chainsaw. I'm like, yeah, I'll get your point, but the clue is in the title. The Range Rover video that didn't happen. But anyway, that got a few views, but whether people think it's clickbait or not, well, it was to a certain extent, but it wasn't. But I say that I don't know if I've got any more Range Rover videos already uploaded, ready for release. But I will plan to do some and get them out. It just buggers the algorithm up because I do a Range Rover video, you get a couple of thousand views, it goes up. Do a Panda video, it comes down. But I'm not really bothered about that anymore. I used to look at all the analytics and, oh look, it's going up, oh brilliant, oh look at this, the channel's taking off. You put out a Panda video and it just goes whoop. You see, oh, that's not so good. So now I look at the income that I'm earning every day, and that's just interesting because I've got the Mad Dog Airgun channel, which I've had a video on the air guns. I have a bit of a job getting the videos monetized because obviously it's firearms and it's this, that and the other and blah, blah, blah. One video actually snuck through and it was monetized. And every now and again, it doesn't go viral, but it gets a lot of views. And so the Mad Dog Air Guns channel is earning more than the Ben's Garage channel at the minute. But they go like that. Next month, that video won't get so many views. It'll come back down again. I'll put a Range Rover video out and they'll go back up. You're never going to get rich off YouTube. Well, some people obviously do, but they've obviously got the following, haven't they? I'm not really that bothered. I'm not going to start doing stupid stuff just to get the views because obviously the subscribers I've got enjoy what I'm doing and I don't really want to change that. So I like to keep the content different. I don't want to be doing the same thing all the time. When will the Audi go? Well, the Audi is up for sale. It's up for sale on the Bonquan. I've got it on Facebook Marketplace. I've just dropped the price. I did put it up for £4,000. And I know that was high, but But I thought we'll start high because you can come down, you can't go back up. So I've dropped it down to £3,500. I've had a lot of people messaging me on Facebook Marketplace. There's a bloke tonight. He's an hour's drive away. He's very interested in it. He's going to get in touch with me again tomorrow. So it might go soon because he said if it works out okay, it will be a quick sale. So well, I've got to get the Range Rover, the parts. I've got to get a front subframe and I've got to get a rear subframe. I've found a couple on eBay, but they're in the UK. So I don't really know. I'm not in a position at the minute where we can just, with all the fees and everything, it's going to be nearly £400, or no, 350 £350 for the front one. Probably about the same for the rear one. So 700 quid for a car that I'm not going to be using. So I shall get hold of those parts through the year. Because what the plan was, I was going to have the Ben's Garage event, but have the parts here already. I'll clean the subframes up, rust treat them, paint them, so that they look like brand new and they can go back in. That was the plan, but I would really like to find some sort of in Europe that are not quite as corroded. Because although they said on the advert it's solid, original, just surface rust, unless you can actually see it, you could be buying what I've got on the car, the same as. So yeah, but I've got a few jobs that I'm going to do on the Range Rover. It failed its CT on things like the headlights. I'll get that sorted. Find out what's wrong with the brakes. They failed it on the brakes, but the brakes work perfectly. The front brakes are 1% out of balance across the front, which is pretty bloody good, to be honest. But it could be anything. It could be like the flexible brake hose has come out of its thing, or something like that. Until I get underneath and have a look, I don't know. So I've got that to do. The body mouldings on the doors, the passenger door one is peeling off at the front. I might just take all of those off and buff the doors up. And then it's the corrosion. What else? There might be something else, but I'll do all those as and when. It's just these subframes which is going to be a bit of a headache. Hope it won't cost too much, because the car's, well, saying that car, it's a 2002 TD6 in France that year with more miles, are going between 6,000 and 7,000 euros. They're up for sale for that. Whether people get that for them or not, I don't know. But cars are quite expensive over here. As I said, obviously ours won't be quite as much as that because it's right-hand drive. But it's on French plates. It's fully immatriculated. Headlights point the right way. Well, it's got the tourist mode on them, so the headlights are level. It's got the xenon headlights in it, so they're pretty good headlights. But they've got a level beam rather than kicking up. You can do that. You just flick the switch in the back of the headlight. So I reckon you probably get about £5,500, £6,000 for it, all cleaned up, running nice, with a CT on it, fresh CT. Yeah, I was looking at classics, and they're stupid money over here. You know, the last classic I had in the UK, I picked it up for 600 quid. I had a 200 TDI in it. I had to do a little bit of welding on it, and it was as good as gold. The only reason I got rid of it is because I absolutely annihilated it off-road in it, and when I cut out to France with it, we was using it to tow out tree stumps. We was putting a wire strop around the tree stump, reversing it up, because we was using the tractor. Dad's tractor's only 26 horsepower, and that was when it was new in 1965. So it doesn't get a lot of servicing, so I don't suppose it is anywhere near 26 horsepower. It didn't have the weight for towing out tree stumps. You'd get the tension up and it'd just pull the front wheels up in the air. So we was pulling them out with the Range Rover because you got 2-ton car, 130 horsepower. It used to just yank it out. Of course, I was doing that, and one day I went from 4-wheel drive to 1-wheel drive. The front diff exploded, so I got rid of that. But I managed to sell that for more than what I paid for it in France. Yeah, I went that they're stupid money. Restored classics in France, anywhere from 50,000 right through to 100,000. Yeah, who's going to pay that for a bloody old Range Rover? But yeah, so it is worth the money if I fix it. So what do? If I put it up for scrap, I'm going to get about 1,500 for it, if I'm lucky. So the only option really is to fix it up and either keep it or flog it. I was gonna, when this bloke was interested in it, he was gonna have it, and I was gonna do all the mods to the TD-V8 that I was gonna do to the TD6. But we'll have to see what happens when we get it fixed up and see what position we're in, and we'll see what happens, and it'll go one way or the other. We'll either keep it or we'll flog it. You know, hopefully the Audi's going. She'll be in her Panda. I'll have the TD-V8, which I'll have to plug into the battery charger constantly because it'll just be sat there. Now I will use it a bit more. I'll go out for little jollies. Yeah, the Hobbit said she'll probably go shopping in it every 2-3 weeks whenever she goes. It might be even less regular than that if she's got to have a pass sanitaire to go shopping. No, I won't get into that again. Yeah, I'll say it's getting late. I'm going to have to sign off in a minute. I've been on here for 2 hours and 37 minutes talking absolute rubbish again. Oh dear. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a better day. We're going to get out on that TD6 and it's going to go perfectly well. Get that all done. Get the solar charger on it, and I can bring my chair back up here and I can start using the exercise bike again. I've not been having physio for... Physio's on holiday for July. He says I can come back if you want. He said if you want me to, I'll come back in August. I said and anyway, Tina wasn't here when he was saying that, so he had 2 more sessions before the end of June. So next time we come, I spoke to Tina. I said, should we not have him in August because it gets so bloody hot in August most of the time. I don't want to be rolling around in there because I wear him out. Doing my exercises, he's puffing more than I am. Obviously, I'm getting a bit, So I said, I'll tell you what. I said, start back in September. So I've not got physio for 2 months. So I really need to get on the exercise bike and keep up with that. I do my leg exercises, like I said. Yeah, we've got a cable underground that pops up in the garage. I've got to dig a trench from up to the house. That's another job we got to do. Get the electric plugged in to the house. We're on 3-phase here, so we've used 2 phases. I'm going to use a 3rd phase for the garage. And then hopefully, and we've got a big fat wire that goes up to the garage. So hopefully if I'm welding and stuff, it won't affect the house too much. But we will see. So at the minute, I'm using the generator up there. If I want power. We did used to run the extension leads up there, but it's just such a bloody rigmarole. There's 2 or 3 extension leads to get to the garage. And I'll just pull the generator out, fire that up. I'll fill the compressor up and switch it off. And normally, if I'm doing something, the air that's in the compressor normally lasts for the job that I'm doing. So I don't have to keep. I have had to fire it up a couple of times if I'm doing a big job. But yeah. So that is our plans. And I think I'm gonna call it a night, and because it's 22. No, I'm looking at the wrong clock here. What time are we on? It's 20 to 11. It's nearly bedtime. I need to get my sleep because I need to get up early in the morning and get out on this car. And fingers crossed, tomorrow is the start of a new chapter where things are going to start going right. Yeah, we've got vegetables. Potatoes are doing really well. Tomatoes they've just started kicking off. The tomatoes, they've been in the ground for a while, and everything has just been really slow. The chilies are crap, absolute crap. The chilies, don't know what's going on with them. But other chili growers have said that they've got the same problem. We've got other stuff growing, but we're not quite sure what's where because there's so many weeds. Oh, carrots are coming up. Beetroot. Cabbage and broccoli. What did you say? And some seedlings. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna, because I've been messing about in the garage and stuff like that. I will do some more get out in the garden videos. I'll put that over on the other channel because people on this channel just don't seem to really like it. So yeah, that'll be over on the Mad Dog Farm channel. I will do a bit of an update in the garden and show you what's going on and what's not going on. Garlic's all ready to come up. Hopefully Friday afternoon we'll get them up with the onions, deal with them, dry them out. But the potatoes look really good. Yeah, I have done a lot of cooking because I cook when the Hobbit's at work, but I will do some more cooking videos. I need to perfect some recipes. I try these new recipes and I think, I'll do a video on that. And so, yeah, I'll have to do that. Trouble is getting all the camera gear set up. I don't think the Hobbit likes it too much. Getting in the way in the kitchen. We don't get a lot of passing traffic for selling our vegetables on the side of the road. Trouble is, we've got a shop not at the end of the road, but if you got to the end of the road and turn right up into the village, there's like a little, what do they call it, a pissery? Yeah. There's an epicery and a little bar up there. So people go up there. Whether we could sell stuff for her or she could sell it on our behalf, I don't know. But we're planning to keep what we grow, properly store it. The Hobbit will either can it or whatever. So like all our potatoes will get peeled, made into chips, made into roast potato size, portion sizes in the jars. She'll can them and they'll get stored down in the dungeon. And hopefully that will keep us going right through till the next harvest. That's the plan. Yeah, he drives a green Range Rover. Funnily enough, Harry's farm, it's got the same Range Rover, green TDV8. Must be a farmer thing. I think Jeremy Clarkson's got a new one as well, but you see it in the background sometimes. I did watch Clarkson's farm. That's quite interesting. I don't like the bloke too much, but the farm, I did quite enjoy that farm. Obviously, a lot of it was put on for the telly, because obviously his fans expect him to be a certain way, don't they? And if he was being serious about farming, or if he was farming seriously, people probably wouldn't watch it as much. But yeah, it's quite interesting, and obviously it brings a different audience to farming and what farming is all about. I mean, I grew up in the countryside. I've worked on farms. I sort of know quite a bit about it, but it's obviously changed a little bit since then. Yeah, it would be actually. I ought to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna crack on now, and yeah, she's coming back your way. Perhaps we've got storms again. So yes, no, that was Kira. I don't know where Ludo is.
He's on the sofa.
Oh, where Ludo? I can hear him. Ludo, come here, mate. Say hello to all the people at home. Say hello. Oh, who's that? Oh, there's a dog. There's a dog on the telly. That's you pillow. Tell him. Tell him. I don't sing. I did do a music video the other day, actually, on the other channel. Somebody said you ought to do some music videos, so I did one. Don't know if you saw it. Oh, the dog. I can't. Ludo, come here. Let's see if I can get him to sing. Ludo, come here, mate. Come on. Go. Oh, not my ear hole. You good boy. You good boy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. You good boy. All right. So that's Ludo signing off. And that right in your ear hole is too much. It's too much. A new puppy. What sort have you got? I couldn't tell you what our two are. I could tell you what they've got a bit of, but they're a bit Heinz 57. Ludo is a Bruno de Jura crossed with a Labrador and possibly something else. Kira is a Boucheron crossed with maybe a German Shepherd, we think. Boucheron and the Bruno de Jura are both hunting dogs. Well, no, the Bruno de Jura is a hunting dog. The Boucheron is more of a guard dog, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more like a shepherd.
Yeah, well, no, because the proper Boucheron is quite Labrador-y looking.
No, I mean, that's their reason.
Oh, what, for shepherding sheep?
Yeah, and like you say, guarding.
Guarding and shepherding and all that for the Boucheron. A cockapoo! So it doesn't molt then. Good thinking. I think that's what the cockapoos are famous for, isn't it? They don't molt. Mr. Dibbles will know, he's got a house full of dogs. So yes, I'm going to sign off now because it's nearly 10 to 11 and it's getting past my bedtime. I need my beauty sleep. Not only that, I need to go for a piddle. Yes. So on that note, on that bombshell, yeah. So thank you all for joining us this evening. We've talked some utter nonsense yet again. I've told you what's been going on and what's not been going right, and what's plans for the future. I will try and get some more gardening videos for the other channel, and I'll do a little bit of a tractor review. I might do that on this channel. But yeah, so that's about it for tonight. I'm going to sign off. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.